Hey, what's going on? Daryl coming at you from the Victory 4x4 Garage. Today I'm going to show you how to install our Dash Accessory Mount here for the 5th gen Toyota 4Runner, affectionately called the DAM around here. It's a great spot to install your DAM accessories like your DAM navigation, your DAM communication, or your DAM phone. It's meant to use rams, ball mounts, pretty universal. You can put them really anywhere. There's the USB hub up here that you can use for power, or as a data link between your phone and your head unit. So the install is actually really simple. I'm going to actually film and do the install at the same time, so you shouldn't have any problems. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take this bracket and mount it to the dash mount. So we're going to flip this dash mount upside down, and we're going to take this bracket just like this. And that's the way we are going to mount it. So from the top, we will line up our holes and just loosely put a bolt in each one of those. And now we're gonna set this up on here to mock it up so we can mark our holes before we disassemble the dash to drill the holes. So what you're looking for here is an even gap on this side, and then if you look up inside of here, the bracket that we mounted in the previous step, we want to make sure that's in a good spot for the 3M adhesive to stick onto the dash. So work that around and kind of figure out what fit you want. There's a lot of adjustability here, so I think right there looks good. So if you look at mine, we're just over 1/4 on each side with an even gap, and then up inside there's a nice flat spot for our 3M adhesive to work. Once you get that fit, you're going to want to take a black Sharpie or whatever is available to you and transfer this hole from our mount to your plastic dash bezel. So on that side like that, then come over here on the other side and transfer it like that. And then we can pull this mount off and start disassembling our dash. So the first step is going to be to pull off these two side panels. You can just grip it like that and pull off this side. The same thing for the driver's side. The trick to these is to pull the bottom out first and then grab the tops and pull the top out. All right, I'm gonna set just a microfiber down so I don't scratch this up, but we're gonna go ahead and pull this HVAC control off. Pull on that side and pull on that side. If you want to, you can disconnect it here and move it out of the way, but for now we're just gonna leave it right there. The next step, with a 10mm socket, remove 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then this whole radio bezel plastic cluster situation comes out just by pulling from the bottom and then pulling from the top. Now go ahead and drill your marks on each side using a 1/4" drill bit, but be extremely careful not to drill too far and drill into your whole vent mechanism and all that. So just drill through the plastic. Quick note on this passenger side, when you're drilling, you want to only drill through the outer plastic. You want to make sure you don't drill all the way through the inner plastic and into your vent. Okay, once we get those holes drilled, we're going to need a spot for the wires to come through for the USB port. So we're just going to take a little notch out of the region right here. A notch just big enough for the wires. Just like that. So the best option would be to drill right here with your 1/4" drill bit, and then just go ahead and cut these parts away after you drill it with a pair of snips would be the easiest way. Or you can do the whole thing with a Dremel. It really doesn't matter. When you're drilling and cutting, just be careful that you're not drilling so far that you hit your vents. Now that I've drilled that access hole, I'm just going to take a pair of snips and go ahead and snip out the rest of the plastic up to the hole. You can clean that up with a file or a piece of sandpaper. That really what you're trying to do is just make a slot big enough for this USB cable to sneak down once everything is assembled. Go ahead and take your USB wires and feed them through the front of the mount. Then we can pull those all the way through. Then we can just press on this USB port to seat it in the bracket. Just like that. So now would be a good time to take an alcohol wipe or something similar and just go ahead and just wipe the top of your dash so that adhesive has a good spot to stick. And then by the time we're ready to stick it down there, this should all be dry for us. You also want to clean the mounting surface of this bracket with the same alcohol wipe. Once that's dry, you want to take the 3M double-sided adhesive we give you, peel off the white backing, and go ahead and just stick it right to that bracket, right on the edge there, and then do the same for this one on the opposite edge. Cool, now we're going to mount this to our center bezel, making sure that we feed this USB cord into the slot that we made first. All right, we're going to give you a 1024 nut, well, two 1024 nuts. You're going to want to hold this on the back side. On the passenger side, it kind of slides in between those two pieces of plastic. And then go ahead and feed the button head bolt from the outside. Once you have the button head loosely threaded in that nut, you can tighten everything down with an 1/8" Allen. You can snug this down and go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. You'll still be able to move this just a little bit, but that'll help us on the installation. Now we can go ahead and pull this tape, but go ahead and save these little red plastic things. I've got a little trick for them. Be sure you don't touch that 3M adhesive once those protective tapes are pulled. All right, here's that trick. While we're installing this, we're going to flex this the first time against this plastic. We don't want to scuff it all up, so go ahead and use those little red pieces of tape underneath each side, and then that'll slide on the plastic and won't scuff it up. These USB cords you want to route in this little corner by the vent in the corner of the dash, and then make sure they fit through your notch that you cut on the back of here when you install the whole assembly. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push this radio and this bezel all back into here while we pull this top back just slightly so it doesn't stick on top of the dash. We don't want that 3M adhesive to stick yet, so we're gonna go ahead and kick this radio in, make sure that this bezel is all the way in, and then once you're sure it's in, you can go ahead and push this backwards and push it against the top of the dash. Hold it for a few seconds, and then that should stick that 3M adhesive against the dash. Once your 3M adhesive is stuck down, you can go ahead and make sure these button head bolts are tight with a 5/32 hex. And a quick note, this is how you're going to remove this dash. So you just remove these bolts right out of here. The bracket stays stuck to the dash, and then you can pull the whole assembly right back off, leaving that bracket on the dash. Now we can double check it and make sure our side bolts are nice and tight. And then we can remove our little insurance policy here from each side. All right, now you want to make sure your USB cables are still free and not pinched on any of these brackets down here. And you can go ahead and reinstall the 4 bolts that we removed when we pulled the radio and the bezel. Now we're going to talk about what to do with these USBs. And for these, you have some options. You have quite a few options, actually. The simplest option is to take these USB cords and sneak them behind this little access door for your 12-volt outlet and your radio auxiliary and all that. Go ahead and pull them both out the bottom, and then open this door and put them in a good location so that they're not going to get crimped or anything like that. Just like that. You can plug one into your adapter here, one into your radio USB. So one of your ports on your dash has Android Auto for your head unit, or you can just plug them both into an adapter. And that's about the easiest thing you can do without having to worry about any custom wiring. The more advanced thing to do would be to wire one of these USB style outlets from Blue Sea Systems. This is a 1016, or one of their 12-volt auxiliary. This is a 1011, and you can go ahead and wire these behind your dash. You could wire them directly to your battery. You could wire them, kind of piggyback them on your 12-volt auxiliary port. You could use one of those ATA circuits in your fuse box to choose that. But this way, you could just plug your USB ports into this, and then you could have a constant 12-volt, say if it's wired to your battery. Then your ports up here would function all the time, whether your key was on or not. So I like these from Blue Sea Systems because they're kind of robust. I would choose this one if you didn't have any advanced USB things to worry about. That I think this is 5 volts, 2.1 amps per port. So if you didn't have anything that needed a lot of power, go ahead and use this. If you had specific needs, I would use this. and then I would go ahead and get one of those 12 volt to USB adapters in the specific power you need, whether it's quick charge or PD or whatever that is. So these are nice because you choose the wiring. It hides all your wiring behind your dash. I really like to run these directly to the battery with a fuse. That way my USB ports on my dash aren't dependent of my key being on or not. So these are a great option from Blue Sea Systems. There's obviously a ton of cheaper ones you can get on Amazon. I'm just recommending these because I know they're not going to burn your car down, but your mileage may vary on other options. So that's another great option to wire these permanently and then declutter your dash. Once you figured out your wiring solution for your USBs, you can go ahead and reinstall your HVAC panel here. That just pops right back in, just like it came out. Stamps back into place, and then go ahead and install the side panels that you removed. Those just snap back into place as well. And clean up any plastic shavings and any mess you made, and you'll be good to go. As far as mounting things in your Dash Accessory Mount, this sky's really the limit. We really like ram balls and accessories, so this is a 1/4-20 stud style ram ball. So all of these little inserts are 1/4-20. So you can just take one of these and just thread it directly in any of those on the top, any of these on the front. Also, you can use a diamond ball or a round ball ram mount. So you pick up one of the bolts down there and one of the ones in the slot right there if you want to do that. Or I don't have a diamond one in front of me, but you could use a diamond as well. It's the same bolt pattern and it might look a little cleaner on there. Diamond around, that's kind of your choice. Your other option is a T-bolt style ram ball. So the T-bolt would go in this slot and then the ball would thread on top, and that gives you all sorts of adjustability left or right on there. So there's tons of options for you, tons of devices you can plug into USBs, obviously. So it's really meant to be kind of a universal mount for whatever you might need to run in your 4Runner. That's it, not too hard. If you have any questions about this install or any install here at Victory 4x4, give us a call, 269-459-8447, or shoot us an email at info@victory4x4.com. Thanks for watching, thanks for becoming part of the Victory 4x4 family, and we'll talk to you later.